Hi everyone, Kim Watson here with a new process video for Hip Kids Club. Today I'm going to be using a creative prompt in the form of a recipe, which I found really helpful. So today our recipe is 1 flare, 2 photos, 3 tags, 4 patterns, 5 die cuts, 6 puffies, a twist of lemon, a dash of blue, and a whole lot of fizz for yummy results. Maybe a bit cheesy, all my own doing. Anyhow, but yeah, I found in the past that sometimes working with a really tight brief, the results are actually so much better than if I'm merely staring at a table full of like reams of beautiful products and I don't know where to start. So I'm going to show you how helpful this can be in terms of showing you how you can successfully put together a great design using something as silly as a recipe prompt. So what I started off with here is that gorgeous piece of paper with the colored chevrons from Pinkfresh Studio from their Simple and Sweet, or Sweet and Simple collection. I can't remember. Anyway, and so what I did is using 2 pieces of the packaging from my Savannah Dreams collection for Pretty Little Studio. I used those as the template for the size of the pattern paper, and then again taking another Pinkfresh Studio paper, cut similar sized rectangles, which then obviously became the layers of my asymmetrical cluster, which I'm lining up with the position of the chevron, so it's got this really nice sort of off-center design that's starting to happen. You'll see what I'm doing here is I'm actually just sort of puzzling the design together. I isolated a bunch of products using that recipe prior to me starting, so that I didn't have to agonize over what to use and should I do this and should I do that. If I just limit the amount of products I'm using, I find it so much easier to be more focused when I'm putting a page together. So here what I'm doing is finding the positions for the 3 tags. I'm making sure to stick to the vertical design, which I mentioned earlier. I like the way the left-hand photograph breaks out of that very predictable cluster. I think what it'll start to do is it'll start to bring a little bit more balance and tension to the overall design. So for instance, placing that tag on the top right corner of the cluster, again, what one achieves is that diagonal tension across the clusters, which it just helps to sort of contribute towards a more balanced overall design. There were so many sweet little summer treat ephemera that came in the pack from Pinkfresh Studio that I was determined to try and use as many of them on this page, given that the theme is about ice cream. We have this really great ice cream place just up the road, and even though it's freezing, or it was freezing, and really cold outside, my family still loves to go for ice cream treats, so it made sense to use ice cream motifs. That little ice cream, the one that I'm busy with at the moment, was fussy cut from one of the pieces of paper that came in the June kits. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to show you how I decorated and took the tags one step further. So first of all, I selected a color. The first one was blue. The second one I thought yellow might be nice, and then using the Shimmers Paints products, I used the colorings for this yellow one called No Yoking, added some splatter, and then took a little piece out of one of those Pinkfresh Studio papers, attached it underneath, and then just zigzags machine stitched it onto the tag to secure it. Again, what it does is the stitching is a really subtle, understated way of adding texture. For this tag I chose the peach color, and then took the Shimmers Paints Going Peach side. This really beautiful glossy creamy paint goes on really well and splatters really well. So notice all the dimension I was a little fast there, but basically I was showing you just how I've raised all those layers off the base page. I absolutely love different heights of dimension by using foam adhesive tape. It creates shadows. You see there how it's creating shadows? I think it's those shadows which add extra interest to the design. So what I'm doing is now that I've in my mind worked out the general layout of all the bits, I can now put them back where I had originally placed them, but now obviously adding adhesive. That gel adhesive that I'm using there is from Queen & Company. What is really, really nice about it is that it doesn't dry immediately. It stays damp a little bit longer than, say, Tombow, for instance, but it doesn't bleed, and it's so you can attach it on really fine areas, and it goes on really, really smoothly. So I'm enjoying using that adhesive a lot at the moment. As you can see, I'm cutting down my pieces of 3L adhesive, the foam adhesive, so that it can go further. Also, if you cut one of those square blocks into 4, you can then obviously layer the little squares on top of each other, giving you that much more height to your element. Here what I'm doing is working on the blue accents. You will notice in a moment that I will make sure that there's 3 blue accents at strategically placed around the page. It just helps with my visual triangles. I'm so loving all the loose threads. You know, I've done that sort of thing for years, but I've noticed more and more people are doing it when they're doing the loose thread thing. I love the fact that it looks sort of authentic and crafty, and again adds lovely texture. These were just some offcuts left on my desk, that yellow acetate from my Savannah Dreams collection from Pretty Little Studio. It adds to the visual triangle of yellow as well as the circles. So now I have my 3 circles. You know, the funny thing is about visual triangles, especially when I design, is that they're subliminal. I don't actively look at working on the visual triangles. You know, when you do this for long enough, some things just happen instinctively, and when I watch these videos back again, I can see that happening while I design. The instinctive need to close the visual circles is quite obvious. You might think that this title is like really strange, a yum sweet icy treat, but I'd run out of E's for my In the Blows Black Alphas from Pinkfresh Studio, which are absolutely amazing. I love the size, and I love the fact that the font is not too wide, so you can place quite a long word in quite a small area. So I ended up compromising, saying a yum sweet icy treat, and had a play on words in terms of it's ice cream and it's winter and like say what, and it's awesome. And anyhow, my black enamel dots add a little bit of black punch, and then of course balance out the black alphas. Amazing how something so simple can really make a page look like it's finished. I added a few gold puffies dotted around the page as well, just for a little bit of understated bling. Now what I'm going to do is add my handwritten journaling, and of course if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I like to add journaling in unpredictable places. So my journaling, you'll notice here, actually contributes towards the overall design, which of course is that long vertical cluster along the chevron points. So it becomes like an integral part of the actual design, as opposed to just something added on the end. And lastly, I thought I would add a few pieces of washi tape along the borders. Again, it just holds the design together. I call them grounding strips. So there you have it. My page is complete. I loved this collection. I'm loving this month's kit from Hip Kit Club. The colors are awesome. I'm loving the peach, blue, and yellow, which is so unusual as a color combination. And here are some close-ups to give you an idea of what everything looks like. And I've really enjoyed sharing my process with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Remember to pop over to hipkitclub.net if you want to grab one of these kits for yourself. Thanks, and chat again. Bye-bye.